Have you ever had a boss that was just awful, but you needed the job, so you kept your head down, didn't make waves, and put up with a toxic work environment and terrible behavior? Well, there's a little ambulance service in the town of Oxford, Alabama that is currently going through this very thing, and they want something done about it. Real quick, if you're new to this channel, my name is Christy. I was a paramedic for over 10 years until 2021 when I had a catastrophic motorcycle accident where I was internally decapitated. Yes, I did say internally decapitated. I am no longer able to do that work anymore, so now I create content here on YouTube. I will link a playlist here where I have a series called The 411 on 911 where we talk about cases in the media and 911 calls that I've ran over the years, and well, today we're exposing a toxic boss. So what started all this drama was an anonymous Gmail account that typed up a letter full of allegations against the director, Tom Dixon, and then proceeded to send this letter to the mayor of Oxford, the Oxford fire chief, Gary Sparks, as well as the city council members. In this anonymous email, quite a few allegations are made, and this anonymous employee or employees are asking for something to be done about this. A couple of days after the email was sent, it was then leaked and sent to me by someone in Tom's inner circle. To be honest, my first thought was, oh my gosh, I am so glad that I do not have to deal with this. And after talking to some people, I started to learn quite a few concerning things and eventually decided to make this video. Before I read the letter, I just want to make it very clear that I do not know this person personally. This is a local ambulance service that I have not worked for, but I do know a lot of people that have, and in doing the research for this video, I have talked to many people, and essentially when I am talking, just consider me the vessel, the voice, if you will, of a lot of people that have their own experiences with this person, but they do not feel that they can speak because they are scared of retaliation, which has already happened to one employee that we will get into later. Tom Dixon first came to Oxford back in 2020. The ambulance service was previously called Oxford EMS. It was long established, and historically, Oxford EMS has produced a lot of really good paramedics. Many paramedics from that service have gone on and now have careers as flight medics. But apparently behind the scenes, Oxford EMS was losing a lot of money. There were some legal issues, and the previous director was then let go. Tom Dixon was brought in as the interim director of Oxford EMS, and after some time, they decided that the service was not worth saving as is, and so Oxford EMS was dissolved and a new service was formed called Oxford Health Systems Paramedics. Now, this service is under the newly created Healthcare Authority for the city of Oxford. In doing research for this video, I cannot find anything on a healthcare authority, what it allows. It's all very murky. So if you are able to provide some clarity on that, please do. That would be very much appreciated. But basically, there's a healthcare authority that has board members on it, and under this healthcare authority is now OHSP, Oxford Health Systems Paramedics, and Tom is the CEO of this healthcare authority and the leader of the EMS service. Being that there are several services in a small area, the EMS community, we all kind of know a little bit about the other services and other other providers in the area. So I first started hearing rumblings around 2020, but didn't pay it much attention. But the talk at the time was not very positive pertaining to Tom Dixon. Something interesting I learned was back in the early 2000s, Tom was elected the mayor of a tiny town in St. Clair County called Branchville. It is alleged, rumored by multiple people that Tom made himself the fire chief and then eventually bankrupted the city. According to this article, it was dissolved in 2007 and annexed into the neighboring town of Odenville. I was also told by several people. Now, is it possible all these people were told, yeah, the telephone game? So it's possible there is no truth to this at all, but I found it interesting that multiple people volunteered the same information to me without me asking. But these people said that when Tom was elected mayor, the people of that community thought that they were voting for Tom's dad, who is a senior. Tom is a junior, and it's alleged that like the campaign signs and stuff like that didn't have senior or junior, and lo and behold, he was the youngest mayor ever, I guess. I don't know. He was the youngest mayor, but apparently was not a very good one. So who knows? So there's a lot of allegations in this email, so let's get into it. I want to bring your attention to a problem we are having. The director is making very questionable decisions. Over the past few months, everything that we were promised on hire has been taken away. Overtime we were promised has been taken away. Tom keeps telling us we will get state retirement and then that it's not really worth it. Our insurance is a joke. It's a two-part system that's more complicated than it's worth and doesn't cover what he said it would cover. Tom Dixon has made the statement that we are over budget by $50,000 every 2 weeks on payroll and has stated many times that he will have to fire paramedics and hire advanced EMTs to save money. Tom would rather have brand new employees taking care of our citizens that we have put through school in less than a year's time than to hire paramedics with years of experience because the new hires think and operate the way he trains them to. That's a very dangerous way to run an organization. OHSP was a wonderful place to be 18 months ago when I started. Now I regret coming here. Tom Dixon is giving employees raises just so he can harass other employees by text and from the first employee's phone. Tom constantly puts down employees and threatens to fire everyone after B makes a mistake and blames other people. B, on multiple counts, has put our citizens' lives at risk with his incompetence. For instance, we were taught to stop the bleeding from our very first day of EMT school. When we had the active shooter at racetrack, B, who holds a critical care license, failed to apply a tourniquet and stop the bleeding and in turn almost cost a man his life. B is a child and will not take responsibility for his actions when it costs a patient their life, and it has happened. Additionally, on occasions under the instruction of Tom Dixon, E has transported patients requesting medical help to a truck stop over in Georgia and kicked them out. And then E brags about it later on. We have lost 3 extraordinary providers over the last 18 months because they made comments that are true about the way Tom is running OHSB. I have spoken with multiple fellow employees over the last few days that feel like I do. We need a change. We run calls better and provide a better service when Tom and B are absent. Tom has also stated that we are sending C through medical school because when he is a doctor, Tom can tell him what we will be doing. Tom is acting reckless and is out of control. Tom has talked about how easy it is to convince the board that we need a helicopter when his only goal that he has stated many times is to put Survival Flight out of business in the area. He and Survival Flight have had many problems in the past and he just wants to get back at them. A helicopter in the city will not improve our patient outcomes, and Tom himself has stated many times we can transport patients faster by ground than we can by air due to our proximity to Birmingham hospitals, and tells our employees not to use the local helicopter services. Tom has said things to employees such as calling female employees a whore, talking about one's big titties, and insinuating that she sleeps with patients. He has commented on the sex lives of multiple patients and employees in ways that are extremely inappropriate. Sexual harassment is not okay in the workplace, especially from the director. On occasions, he has referred to the mayor's son as a fucking R-word with a head injury, has stated multiple times that he hopes Fire Chief Gary Sparks dies because he is a fat, dumbass fuck, and states he goes out of his way to antagonize the fire department. Tom Dixon is not a leader, and he does not reflect what I have known Oxford to be since I was a child growing up here. Please give this email consideration, and please find us a good leader. When this email is brought to Tom's attention, I expect a full internal interrogation and retaliation within the organization against all employees that had input into this email. Thank you, a concerned HCA employee. There is a lot to go over in this email, so I am going to break this down. But when I was sent this email, I started asking questions, and then I started throwing little breadcrumbs out on my social media to see if there were other people that could confirm the allegations in this email, and boy, were there a lot of people. I did not want to touch this with a 10-foot pole initially, but I have had my own experiences with an EMS service that was extremely corrupted and doing unethical things, and it's personal. So again, when you hear me speaking in this video, I am a vessel for a lot of people that need to remain anonymous but want their grievances heard. So after getting flooded with people with information and their own experiences that they wanted to share, I started researching, compiling, asking questions, and putting all of this together. So just to be clear, I am not saying any and everything on camera that has been told to me. If it has just been said by one person and sounds crazy, then I'm not going to talk about it. The things that I am speaking on this video have been alleged by multiple people, none of which know who all I'm talking to. So it's either the biggest conspiracy since the 2020 election fraud, or there might be some truth to it. So I have been told that multiple people, former employees, were promised state retirement upon hire. However, that has since changed, and now Tom is dead set on getting this helicopter, which we'll get more into later. But that's the first issue. Tom Dixon has made a statement that we are over budget by $50,000 every 2 weeks on payroll, and has stated multiple times that he will have to fire paramedics and hire advanced EMTs to save money, which is not what was printed in the Anniston Star that Tom was quoted as saying when he says the paramedics on the ambulances are required to be critical care paramedics with additional training and certifications. The ones that are not are required to have those certifications within a year. Was that a lie, or was that a promise that was just not kept? Was that completely made up or just not attainable? Further down in this email, it states that we are sending C through medical school because when he's a doctor, Tom can tell him what he will be doing. For the lay people out there, ambulance services run off of protocols that are set by the state, and each service has a doctor that they use for med control. So for example, if they have a patient that needs adenosine, historically that has been category B, meaning that in order for a paramedic to give it, they have to call their med control and get orders for it. Well, it's alleged in this email that they are putting this person through med school, I'm assuming with the intent of that being their future medical director, and then this is what is being insinuated, that Tom can then kind of control him and get what he wants out of that person as their medical director. So Tom, according to this email and also the multiple sources that I have spoken with, the only reason that he wants this helicopter is to put the other local services out of business because of some kind of beef. I have no idea what that beef is. Don't know, don't care. What I do know is Survival Flight is already located just outside of Oxford. Their flight time is 3 minutes to the Oxford coverage area. There are also 2 other helicopters nearby that have a flight time of less than 20 minutes. Now, these other services are already established. They already have the crew to provide the level of care needed. What the city council may not understand, what a layperson may not understand, that the crews that are already established are highly educated, highly trained, highly experienced, and highly mentored. The level of care from a critical care flight nurse, critical care flight paramedic is much different than a regular ambulance on the street. It's night and day. OHSP does not have on staff people with the necessary experience or the qualifications that would provide a service that is of benefit to the citizens of Oxford. In fact, in my opinion and Christy's opinion alone, based off what all I have been told, this would be detrimental to the citizens of Oxford. And as a parent with 2 teenage drivers, if they have a wreck in Oxford city limits and need an aircraft to get to UAB, that's a concern. That is something to consider. So, is it really what's best for the citizens, the tax-paying citizens of Oxford? Or is this a flex for a manipulative boss? I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm asking on behalf of a lot of people. Then there's the inappropriate comments about women and their bodies and relationships, which is just overall unprofessional behavior. And on occasions, he has referred to the mayor's son as a fucking R word with a head injury. I do not know the mayor's son, but I have been told that he had some sort of accident and does have a traumatic brain injury, which is highly concerning that a person whose sole job is to provide health care for people of all backgrounds and abilities, that he would ever use this kind of rhetoric. I just find that heinous, just absolutely disgusting. I mean, let's be honest, I say the F word a lot. I never say the R word. To even say it in quotes, I can't even say it in quotes. It's just awful. Just awful. And then also the comments about the fire chief, Gary Sparks. Again, this is not just in this email. When I asked this to all of these other people that were contacting me, they all said, oh yeah, he hates him. He says all the time that he wishes he would die. And back in 2020, it was either 2020 or 2021, Chief Sparks got COVID and he did nearly die. So again, I find that especially heinous that Tom would speak this way about a peer, a longtime public servant that's respected in the community. It's unprofessional, and just more than unprofessional, it's just disgusting. Like, is this the kind of person that you want with all of this power over emergency services in Oxford, Alabama? That's frightening. So after this email was sent to the mayor, fire chief, and city council, Tom then wrote his own email that he sent to the OHSP employees and also copied to the city council and mayor. Blah, 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 blah. If you want to reach out to any board member at any time, please know that first, I would likely never know, and second, there will be no retaliation. If you have any concerns, I encourage you to do so. All board members are copied here. Well, Gracie Wright is a former employee that took Tom on his word and composed her own email with her own grievances that she sent to the city council from her personal email address. Within a very short period of time, screenshots of her email were leaked to Tom and all of her coworkers. She then received some harassment from her coworkers and felt that she had no other alternative but to resign. She graciously sent me the email that she sent to the council that was then outed and essentially cost her her job. My name is Gracie Wright. I'm a current employee. In regards to recent email, there have been many responses in defense of Tom Dixon. While my opinion may be unpopular, I feel the need to share with you my personal grievances. Since my start date of July 2023, I was promised a set pay rate that was competitive and better than any other service. The rate was made possible due to our mandatory 12 overtime shift after every third shift. Months later, that overtime was taken away. The cuts in budget were due to a lack of priority in our employees. The focus was shifted on budgeting for an unnecessary helicopter. I pressed the issue of the helicopter to you as well as the anonymous writer in the previous email. This purchase is unnecessary and is only being added to our fleet to simply put another medical helicopter out of business. That has been stated by Director Tom Dixon on multiple occasions. We have put patients at risk for not calling said helicopter company and instead driving an hour to the nearest trauma center, which would only be a 15-minute transport via helicopter. This is not keeping our citizens' best interest at heart. We are repeatedly reminded of how much we are paid as well as our benefits package to keep staff employed out of fear. Many times I have felt manipulated by Tom Dixon, constantly reminding us that we couldn't make it anywhere else. We are reminded daily to keep our attitudes in check when our director talks negatively about our council members and other government entities such as our police and fire departments. Our director has also made lewd comments on employees' relationship statuses. I have witnessed 2 exceptional providers be terminated without any prior counseling, nor were they given any sort of explanation for termination. Thank you, Gracie, for allowing me to share your email and your story. When I spoke with Gracie, she said that she went to go get another job. Some things were said in an effort to prevent her from getting said job. Fortunately, after she explained the situation, it worked out and she was able to get a new job, but not gonna retaliate, huh? What happened to that? There will be no retaliation. That's weird. That must mean a different thing to Tom than it means to literally everyone else. So after I got this email and after I started asking questions, as I said, the floodgates opened and I was overwhelmed with information. And I found out some concerning things. The first thing that I learned that is highly concerning is the Oxford City Fire Department was recently stripped of all of their ALS equipment. Now, what does that mean? That means that the fire department is staffed with their own paramedics and they have their own cardiac monitors, their own drug boxes, the Lucas devices that give chest compressions. All of that was taken away from them, which is bad enough, but that equipment was purchased through the fire tax that is allotted for that purpose. I am not a lawyer. I'm not anything. How is that legal? If it's not illegal, it's certainly unethical and in poor taste and just a terrible thing to do to a service that is supposed to work alongside you. For the city council members, the mayor, and lay people who may not know how this works, typically across the entire United States, most urban services are run in a similar way, which is usually you have the ambulance service Take, for example, Anniston EMS, just a city next to Oxford. There's an EMS service that transports, but Anniston also has a fire department that is staffed with paramedics and their own equipment. Typically, what happens when someone calls 911 for chest pain or there's a cardiac arrest or whatever, the fire department responds as well as the ambulance. Most of the time, the fire department is usually first on scene, and their paramedics with their own equipment can go ahead and initiate life-saving care. That's the way it's done across the country. If the transporting paramedic has a bad call and needs an extra set of hands, there's usually a firefighter already there that is more than happy to hop in the back of that ambulance, and they run the call together in the hospital. I've personally done that many times. However, now the Oxford Fire Department has none of this equipment. They do not have this capability at all. If somebody comes to the fire station with chest pain and they're having a heart attack or a drug overdose, or there's a cardiac arrest across the street, do you know what they can do? The fire department can show up and pray for you. Maybe pat you on the butt, tell you, good job, champ, you got this. Because they don't have any equipment to do anything else with. Instead, what Oxford Health Systems paramedics now do is they send 2 ambulances, allegedly, and nurses in chase cars, which we will get into in a minute. So what is confusing to me is that it's a duplication of services to use the fire department that is already funded to run these calls, but it's not a duplication of services to send a second ambulance or to pay a nurse however much they're making a year to respond in chase cars. Now, let me be clear. I personally do not believe it is a bad idea to have RNs in the pre-hospital setting. I think it's a good idea. I think it could provide a lot of benefit. However, an interested party reached out to the state EMS director recently when we were asking these questions, and this is what the state EMS director told this person. An RN is not permitted to practice in the pre-hospital setting in Alabama. The only exception to this would be a critical care service. Oxford is not. And in that case, the RN cannot be the primary patient caregiver and must be accompanied by a critical care medic who maintains patient care at all times. So apparently there is some disconnect somewhere, because the state EMS medical director is saying that RNs are not permitted to work in the pre-hospital setting. There's no protocol for that. However, Tom is quoted as saying that he has RNs that provide pre-hospital care. I have also been told by multiple sources, because one of the questions I had was, well, if they're providing care, how are they documenting? Because every patient interaction has to be documented. Well, they are documenting under a paramedic's name. So they are falsifying documentation. The little black SUV people see driving around is being used by our critical care nurses. And just like our paramedics, our nurses have to be triple certified as certified emergency nurses, certified transport nurses, and certified flight transport nurses, which can serve on a helicopter. I can tell you right now that none of those 3 nurses are triple critical care certified. One recently passed one of these certifications, but again, did he lie or did he overpromise and underdeliver? Because not only are the nurses not critical care certified, I am aware of only one paramedic that has the flight paramedic certification, and the person that has that certification has 0 experience in flight medicine. So again, is this overpromised and underdelivered, or is this just words that sounded good at the time and nobody was going to question it? Who knows? I certainly don't know, but I do know that what is stated in this article quoted by Tom Dixon is not what is happening currently. They are getting a helicopter. They are planning on staffing it with their own employees. However, I do not personally believe that there are any employees there qualified to staff it at this time. Who knows? Maybe there's something coming down the pipeline that we're unaware of. Multiple people have come forward and stated that, as Gracie stated in her email, they have been told not to fly their patients out. So if they're able to not fly patients out with the already established local services, why do they need a helicopter? Why is all this money going towards a helicopter and not towards state retirement for the employees like they were promised? And I said this on my Facebook post, and I'm going to say it again. I sincerely hope that there is a simple explanation to all of these allegations and there's no merit to it, and I look stupid and then easily proven wrong. And then I would owe a gigantic apology to Tom Dixon, the OHSP employees, city council, and the mayor, which I will happily give when these questions are answered. Why are they not being transparent? Because they know that these questions are being asked, yet it's been very quiet recently. While I was making noise on social media, I posted a link in my stories, and it's a link you can click on and you can say what you have to say and be anonymous. And quite a few people took the opportunity to air out some grievances, which I will post here. Pause if you would like to read all of them. So basically, a lot of people kind of confirming what had been told to me by a bunch of other people. But I did just want to post these to kind of establish a pattern of behavior by this person. Again, allegedly. So after about a week of talking to a lot of people and collecting information, I sent my own email to the mayor and city council members to let them know that I was going to be filming a video on this, and I laid out the things that I specifically wanted to talk about to give them a chance to offer a statement, to which they did not. At the time of this filming, I have not heard anything, only rumors of secret meetings and interviews and whatnot. I think at this point, with so many people knowing about all this and so many people having issues, the least they could do, put out a statement. Just some sort of good faith statement to let people know that they are looking into this, if they're looking into it. Again, as I stated, I'm the vessel for a lot of people to bring up their grievances, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a whole lot of smoke. I truly believe that it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. I hope that people get answers very soon. I hope the fire department gets answers. I hope the citizens of Oxford get answers. I hope the employees that have been promised things get answers. It's no fun going to work every day not knowing when you're going to be fired and for what. I've been there. I understand it is not like that everywhere. I'm sorry that you have to put up with that, but I did feel like it was important to speak on behalf of a lot of exceptional providers that have been treated poorly. So